Good Shabbos. Good evening, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. Well, it's certainly a pleasure to wish a hearty mazel tov to Brady Kurzman, who will be a bar mitzvah tomorrow, and the Kurzman family want to wish you a hearty mazel tov. I know we're going to have lots of nachas between tonight and tomorrow. The Sisterhood Gift Shop, as you may have noticed, is going to be open Fridays for 45 minutes before services. So spread the word so people can come in and look at some of the beautiful things they have. There's time to register for the adult B'nai Mitzvah classes. Pamela Henderson is going to be handling those, and the classes will be on Tuesday. As a matter of fact, in all these announcements, if you want more information, just pick up a phone, call the temple, or the website lvnertamid.org, where everything is listed there for you. Rabbi Axelrod is going to continue his Essential Talmud class Wednesday on Zoom, so call in for that link. And next week, our Shir Shabbat at 6:15 is going to be a service for families taught to teen. The Shabbatones will be playing, so please feel free to come and enjoy the music. There'll be arts and crafts for the kids starting at 5:45. Saturday, February 12th, Rabbi Axelrod and Cantor Hutchings and the Social Action Committee will be at the Love One Another Interfaith Community Service at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints from 5 to 7. They ask for donations and pre-K 5th grade reading material. February 17th, Sisterhood Flower Power, F-L-O-U-R, and that's going to be on Zoom too. And they're going to be preparing chocolate brownies for the Shabbat. So call in for a link to that. Thursday, February 24th, we're going to host Rabbi Rona Matlow for her second lecture called R-Rated Torah, the stuff we never talk about in shul. It should be for ages 18 and above. Call in for the link to that. And we're going to be kicking off our Chavarot program, where we are forming groups of friends, Havaras, or tight-knit groups of friends that meet maybe once a month and may have a particular interest, hobby in common with one another. So we already have 50 people have signed up, so please sign up for this. It should be really a wonderful opportunity to get new friends. And let's see what else, tons of things today. You can also, as far as the Havara, create your own group with any topic you want. So it's a wonderful program. I urge you to explore it. With that in mind, Shabbat Shalom, Good Shabbos, and again, Mazel Tov. Oh, I forgot. We want to thank Barbara Siegel for sitting in tonight for us. Eddie Birch was unable to be here tonight. We're so happy to have Barbara. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ira. We're going to begin tonight in just a moment with Shalom Aleichem on page 142. It is a prayer ushering in the Shabbat angels. I'd invite you to join with me. It's a little bit of a different melody tonight. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bochem leshalom, malachei hashalom, malachei elyon, mi melech malachei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu. Shalom aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh We turn back just a little bit to page 120 as we welcome Shabbat with the lighting of the candles. We call forward Jody Mallory and Hayden Kurtzman, the matriarchs of the family, for Brady to light our Shabbat candles. Bring in the light, bring in the light, bring in the light of Shabbat. We light the lights of Shabbat. Bring in the light, bring in the light, bring in the light of Shabbat. Lehad likner shel Shabbat. Shabbat shalom. May you have a peaceful day. Shabbat shalom. May you have a restful day. Bring in the light, bring in the light, bring in the light of Shabbat. We light the lights of Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu. Lehad likner, lehad likner, lehad likner shel Shabbat. Lehad likner shel Shabbat. Page 124. We enter this sanctuary to welcome Shabbat. Within these walls, we sit surrounded by numberless generations. Our ancestors built the synagogue as a visible sign of God's presence in their midst. Throughout our long history and our endless wanderings, it has endured, a beacon of truth, love, and justice for all humanity. Its presence guided our ancestors to lives of righteousness, holding them up to a vision of their truest selves. Now we, in our turn, come into this sanctuary to affirm the sacredness of our lives. May we enter this place in peace. May holiness wrap around us as we cross its threshold. Weariness, doubt, the flaws within our human hearts, the harshness of the weak, let these drop away at the door. In the brightness of Shabbat, let peace settle upon us as we lift our hearts in prayer. And so we turn to page 138 as we greet the Shabbat bride with this traditional melody. I've kind of picked some. We had a request from our bar mitzvah family for a closing song, and it made me think of some of the more, traditional is not the right word, we call them Sinai. Like, we don't exactly know where they came from, when they came from, but they're in our hearts, and they remind us of our childhood. So I picked some of those tonight to kind of sprinkle throughout the service, and maybe it'll be a little nostalgic. Shabbat nekabela, shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, hishmianu el hamiuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, l'shem ol tiferet v'litila, lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Shabbat nekabela, likrot Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, ki hi mekor haberacha, merosh mikedem nesucha, sof maaseh
במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. We rise to greet the Shabbat bride. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצולה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
And that particular melody was by Karl Bach. We invite forward Brady to lead us in the Hatzi Kaddish. We remain standing, page 144.
Davi Kadash Meraba Beman Divarav Yute Melmik Mahute Behayehon Uvyamehon Uvhaye Deho Beis Yisrael Bagala Umins Mankari Primeru Amen Yehesh Meraba Mevora Le'alam u'ome umaya Hipara Vishtaba Hipar Vimbraman Vinase Vitadar Vitala Shemei Kudish Jambarihu Lemami Kol Mahata Shirata Tush Behata Venehemanza Dami Rombeama Vimeru Amen.
Please be seated. We invite up Brady's sisters once again, Mallory and Hayden. They have a very special Ahavat Olam to share with us, made famous by the Platt brothers. And you can follow along on page 150. And Brady's at the piano.
Ahavat Ahavat Olam, Beit Yisrael, Am Havta, Torah u'mitzvot, Hukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadeta. Ahavat Olam, Beit Yisrael, Am Havta, Torah u'mitzvot, Hukim u'mishpati, Otanu limadeta. Okay, Adonai Eloheinu, Beshiveinu, V'kumeinu, Nasiach behueha, V'nizma b'divrei Torah, U'lemitzvoteha, Le'olam v'avat olam, Beit Yisrael, Am Havta, Torah u'mitzvot, Hukim u'mishpati, Otanu limadeta.
My mom said, "How beautiful" in the chat. So there you go. There's a lot of those in the chat. We rise again for the Shema, page 152.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevala Nehuto, Le'olam va'ed. Hear Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai is one. Blessed is God's glorious majesty forever and ever. Please be seated. We continue on page Ve'ahavta on page 154. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'v'chol nafshecha b'v'chol neotecha v'hayu ha'devarim ha'ele asher anochi mezavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibartam bam b'shiteha b'veiteha uvlefteha mandere ushompeha uvekumeha uvshartam leo aliadeha v'hayu letotafam b'neineha ufatartam amizuzo beiteha uvishareha Leman tiskeru havasitam eko mitzvotai v'kem kedoshim le'olehem ani Adonai Elohehem asher nosieti etem me'eretz Mitzrayim le'olot lahem Elohim ani Adonai Elohehem Adonai Elohem Eved. Standing on the part of shores of history, we still believe that we were taught before never we stood our Sinai's foot.
Together, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness.
There is no way to get from here to there, except from joining hands, marching together.
מי כמוך בעלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסיף אלה, נורא תהילות אוסיף אלה, יא בא בים בים בם, יא ביי ביי בים בם, יא בא בים בים בם, יא ביי ביי בים בם, יא די 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 די, יא ביי ביי בים בם, יא די 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 די, יא ביי ביי בים בם, מלכותך רוב ענך, חוקי הים לפני משה, זה ליאנו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד.
Sing the song of men and women joining in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracle and earth protected in truth, a gift for our children and the generous to come, the song of a land once raved by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more, the song of a world redeemed, the song of peace.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be the shelter to life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up, waiting to do your will. Page 160. This is Magnolia.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Hashkiveinu, Adonai Eloheinu, Hashkiveinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, hashkiveinu Adonai Eloheinu, hashkiveinu l'shalom. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms.
We are a people in whom the past endures, in whom the present is inconceivable without moments gone by. The Exodus lasted a moment enduring forever, What happened once upon a time happens all the time. We rise on page 164 for our tefillah prayers.
Adonai sefaitita ufia gita hilateha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elahei avotenu v'imotenu. Elohei Avraham, Elohei Kisla, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Hahel Hagadol, Hakipor Bahanara, El Elyon, Gomel Hasatim Tovim, Bekaneh Hakol. Zoher Haseh Avotim Ma'ot Umehi Gela Libnei V'nehem Leman Shero Be'ava Mele Ozer Mashiach Magain Baruch Atah Adonai Magain Avraham Ratzara Tagi Borleam Adonai Mehaye Hakol Hatala lehoshia, mahisha ruah umehia gashen, mezohel chaim behesed, mehaye hakol merahamim rabim, somech noflim merofer holim, umatzmi arasarim, mehaye emunato, lishenei afar, bihamo habahagehro, liumidomela, melech mikmi, umehaye, umasmi ageshua, v'ne'ema hata l'chayot hakol, baruch atah Adonai, mehaye hamhakol.
אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלע ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
We continue in silent prayer through page 180 using the words on the right or the left side of the page or the words within your heart. When you have completed your prayers, please be seated. At this time, we think of those who are in the bed of illness that need our healing prayers. There's a list that I will read before I do. If you are watching us virtually tonight and you have name or names of people you are thinking of in need of prayers of healing, please submit those in the chat at this time. Submitted to our office this week, Bessie De La Malera, Jean Mark Chaubert, Suzanne Denton Pratt, Georgia Kokila, Jeremy Filer, Logan Knapp and Knapp family, Karen Mirko, David Coleman, James D. Parker, Faith Leitcher, Susan Waldbaum, Myrene Aschenbach. If there's anyone here tonight that would like to recall a name of someone who is in need of healing, please rise and say their names at this time. Joyce Short, Kim Rodriguez, Diane Host, Andrea Costa, Rich Krasner, Howard Spanier, page 371. Debbie and Ed Van Dunk, John Canone. Does this mic still work? Oh, yeah, okay, good. So you may notice that I'm missing my partner in prayer here tonight, Rabbi Axelrod. Sadly, his mother passed away this week, and he is in Palo Alto. He had the funeral this morning, and he's with his family, so I am honored to give the sermon in his stead. It was a challenging one for me. Last week, I shared a very personal story about Anne Frank and what it was like to defend the Holocaust in my history class in middle school. This week, anti-Semitism and Holocaust talk was back in the news. So it was another opportunity for us to dig deeper about what's plaguing the lens of Jewry in modern day. My niece Amaya lives in the high desert in the middle of nowhere and attends public school. Amaya is not Jewish, but she's experienced Jewish life through the lens of Jeremy and I, being her aunt and uncle. Amaya has reached an age when children should start learning about the atrocities of the Holocaust so that we do our part in never forgetting and ensuring it can never happen again. Many schools in this country do not give the Holocaust adequate study time, and as we learned in Tennessee, some are banning it altogether. I was moved when Amaya came to visit last week and was excited to share with me that she had been reading the diary of Anne Frank, that she thought it was fascinating, and she had no idea that the Jewish people had endured such a history. She's grateful that her history teacher is spending so much time on this unit and said that they are reading The Boy in the Striped Pajamas next week so that they can continue the discussions and dive even deeper. Holocaust education is so very important. It brings me great solace to know that even in the middle of nowhere, in the desert, the school system is taking anti-Semitism seriously and giving a detailed and full picture of history. When I heard that Art Spiegelman's novel Mouse, A Survivor's Tale, was banned by the McMinn County School District of Tennessee, I was utterly dismayed. While their reasoning is because it says a few phrases that could be considered cuss words and animated animal nudity, which is weird because I've never seen a mouse with its clothes on, I can't help but think this is just an excuse to teach this very heavy subject to the students. The Holocaust is grim. It's a fact. Sure, there are stories that bring us hope like the righteous Gentiles, but overall, the Holocaust is a history filled with darkness, and in order for it to never happen again, we have to teach it. We cannot skim over it or make it lighthearted. We have to deeply ingrain the brutal facts and figures into students from all walks of life. I commend the work of ADL, and when it comes to this topic, they dedicate a whole track of their efforts to Holocaust education and making sure it's accessible in schools around the country. The recent bill passed, AB 231, with the help of ADL Nevada, and our elected officials, which elevates the way that Holocaust and other genocides are taught in the state of Nevada. Our state takes this education seriously. But what happens when one of the other 49 do not? Why does Holocaust need to be taught in this in-depth way? Let's look at what happened with Whoopi Goldberg. She's not anti-Semitic, but she was clearly misinformed, or perhaps misspoken. On The View this week, she made a point to say that the Holocaust was not about race. It was white people fighting white people. But instead, it was man's inhumanity. It was just white people fighting white people, and instead of calling it racism, it was just man's inhumanity to man. She's right. It was definitely about man's inhumanity to man. But it is basic historic knowledge that Hitler wanted to eradicate the inferior race, the Jews. The Holocaust was indeed racism and man's inhumanity to man. She made it clear that the Holocaust was wrong, but by simplifying the reality, she debated historic facts and thereby ever so slightly eroded the gravity of what happened. Being mistaken or misinformed on Holocaust history, unfortunately, is part of a trending norm. In the 2020 survey by the Claims Conference, millennials like myself were polled about their Holocaust knowledge. While 90% had heard the word Holocaust before and believed it had happened, I thought it should be 100, but okay, 90%, only 63% knew that 6 million Jews died, and the rest thought it was somewhere between 0 and 2 million. Even more shameful, less than half of the participants could name one single concentration camp. They had never heard of Auschwitz. There is no doubt in my mind the new wave of anti-Semitism we are seeing is tied to this ignorance. Anti-Semitism is not necessarily blatant. I certainly would not call anti-Semitic woke explanation of the race in a public forum. It's a damaging one, though. The feathers left the pillow, so to speak. An apology's nice, but it can't fix what was said in a public forum. Maybe with some time to reflect, she can work on her own understanding of the Shoah and how she can better educate others. Or perhaps she did the teshuvah and now she can learn and grow. Maybe the cancel culture that exists around these sensitive topics is an overreaction, including the network's decision to give her a suspension. After all, do we want people canceled or do we want them learning from their mistakes and making a change? I have personal feelings about Whoopi's apology on Stephen Colbert, where she told people to stop writing her, she's learned her lesson, she's sorry if people felt hurt by her words. It felt to me a little bit like a fake apology. Am I being too sensitive? Am I making too much of this? Maybe. Are there real bad guys out there aligning themselves with anti-Semitism and hate? Definitely. Do I wish they would have been canceled or reprimanded instead of Whoopi Goldberg? Yeah. But Whoopi has the spotlight in this particular moment. Okay, so now I'm hitting the pause button. I wrote those words that I just shared with you on Wednesday afternoon. Then, on Wednesday night, my dear friend Cantor Weiss sent me a text to watch a powerful video on Facebook. It was over an hour long. I didn't have time. But something in me told me to just take the time and watch it. It completely pivoted my feelings on Whoopi Goldberg and the whole situation. Rather than rewriting the sermon I just gave, I chose to notate it and notate my change of thought, because these words sink deep. I was listening to a long video response from a woman named April Baskin. She is the CEO and founder of an organization called Joyous Justice. She is an award-winning Black and Cherokee Jewish woman-led, multiracial, community-powered, social justice and spiritual transformation organization that seeds and leads systematic change and healing. That is what Joyous Justice is all about. April, who runs it, put in the notes of her video, "If you're still highly upset by what Whoopi Goldberg said, do not watch this video." I thought, I'm kind of upset, but I think I need to watch this. The convergence of Black and Jewish history is very complicated. Both of our cultures have experienced extreme oppression, but those experiences are so very different. If we can work on our intercultural competence, we can better work across those lines of difference. When Whoopi Goldberg made a mistake in her language, she was corrected and she apologized. Earlier today, today being Wednesday, I did not find that apology sincere. And I was glad that she was suspended to think about what she had said, almost like a grown-up version of timeout. But when April made a point in the summation of her video, it really shook me. It changed my stance. April said, "All of the people getting potentially attacked in this aren't the actual source of oppression. We may have hurt feelings because we are proximate, and we want higher standards from those who are close to us. But we need to get clear on that, so that we can start directing our focus in the correct direction and aligning with courage. And for those who need it, to divorce ourselves from white supremacy culture and whiteness and start to embrace a more meaningful, substantive, and courageous identity outside of that oppressive framework, and doing so in solidarity." She's right. We are not oppressed by the words of this talk show host. We do not need to waste time ruining someone's career for misspeaking. There were no bad intentions, just misunderstanding. There are people out there actually oppressing. We need to align ourselves with each other and fight actual hatred and horror. Whoopi followed Maimonides' 3 steps towards forgiveness: admitting wrong, showing sincere remorse in the best way possible, making the wrong as right as possible. So now we have to do our part, forgive it, and move on. Amazing how truly hearing someone else's perspective on something can completely change our minds. Tennessee needs to check herself. We cannot whitewash the Holocaust and the education. Don't use naked mice as a scapegoat for what you're really trying to say. Whoopi Goldberg used incorrect language, and she righted it. We can now move forward together and not use her as our scapegoat for anti-Semitism. The fear of what happened then, happening again, is real and palpable, but it cannot drive us. Instead, we must teach others through deeds, through history, and through shared experience. This is our opportunity to make change and build bridges at this crossroads of difference. Shabbat Shalom. We begin to conclude our service with the Aleinu on page 586. We rise. It is on us to make the world a better place.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, lateit gedula leotzer bereishis. שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגור עלינו כהמונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Please be seated. If you're watching us on the live stream and you are recalling someone tonight for Kaddish prayers, whether it is a recent death or the Yortzeit, the anniversary of someone's death, or you are just thinking of them this evening, please submit those names in the chat. The Kaddish is found on page 598. This week, we think of Marjorie Axelrod, the rabbi's mother. He wanted me to mention that he thanks you all for your outpouring of support and love. We think of Frank Heyman, Rose Downs, Richard Miller, Lawrence Jerome Coplin, Rose Rubin, Betty Edelman Brandis, Dr. Norman Reutman, James David Callan, James D. Smith. We observe the Yortzeits of Nancy Barash, Sam Barnett, Sarah Bass, Harriet Bernick, Charles Cohen, F.R. Craycraft, Seymour Espin, Beverly Frankel, Alan Garbus, Brett Howard Goldstein, Robert Hutchings, Julius Kravitz, Bernard Lee, Rose Levenberg, Phil Levinson, Charnia Liebman, Barry Linden, Michael Meyerhoff, Charlotte Papauser, Robin Price, Samuel Premack, Marnie Denise Robbins Greenberg, Max Rosenberg, Molly Rudin, Melvin Sanoff, Mark Schoentag, Marie Scholar, Pauline Silas, Evelyn Simon, Richard Waxler, Ann Witt. If there's anyone that was not mentioned that you would like to recall tonight, please rise and say their name. Fern Speed, Raina Marcus, Nikki Indix. We rise together for our Kaddish prayer, page 598. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, be'alma divra chirute v'yamlich malchute, b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabba mevorach le'olam u'lalmei almaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitalev v'yithalal, shemei dekudsha barichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, Hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, to which we say, amen. Please be seated. As we get ready for our Kiddush and Motzi, I want to give another big thank you to Barbara Siegel, not only for playing piano tonight, but doing so on such short notice. She is a true professional, and I'm so grateful to her. I know all of you are too. I want to thank the Kurtzman family for sponsoring our Oneg tonight and our Oneg to go, and wish Brady a special mazel tov. It always brings me such joy. This is the third time around that we get to do this, and it's such a Lador Vador experience to have a Kurtzman bar or bat mitzvah because, well, I think you all know the story. I'll share it again tomorrow morning. If you want to know, tune in or show up. But it's very awesome that we get to do this and that we all get to be together doing it. I want to thank Dell, our shamus, always so helpful, and our staff tonight who made everything possible. and all of you, of course, for being here. So we turn to our Kiddush and Motzi. Let's invite up our friends from religious school. If you are in religious school or religious school age and you want to have some juice and some challah, come on up.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai,
Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
All right, I'm going to keep the Kurtzmans up here for our closing song, a special request. And Adon Olam, I'm going to get you the page number right now. Page 625. Okay. Adon Olam, Asher Malach, Terem Kol, Yetzir Nivra, Eit Nasa,
Bechefso kol azai melech shemo nikra Adon Olam, ve'acharei kichlot hakol, levado yimloch nara Adon Olam, ve'hu haya, ve'hu haveh, ve'hu yeh b'tifara Adon Olam,
Adon Olam, Asher Malach, Terem Kol, Yetzir Nivra, Eit Nasa,
Bechefso kol azai melech shemo nikra Adon Olam.
Shabbat Shalom. Torah study at 8:45 and Brady's Bar Mitzvah at 10 a.m. Have a great evening.